lunch slump, I hope. I'll keep it interesting, I hope. I'm here to talk about building trust in a fully remote org as a new lead. The emphasis is on 3 words: trust, remote, and new. A little bit about myself. I had been in the same organization for 7 years as a developer, tech lead, and then head of engineering. We were a highly collaborative, co-located organization. And when pandemic hit, we just moved on to working from homes. And we were like, why is everyone talking so much about remote? This is easy. Not realizing that, we were a fully formed team. In the middle of the pandemic, I decided to shift to Shopify. Shopify is a much bigger organization. It is also fully remote and remote by design. I realized that many of the processes, many of the things that I'd been doing in my previous org did not quite translate into this bigger, more global, digital-first context. I realized that starting in a remote org is not the same as moving to remote work when you've already established trust. And doing the same thing on Google Meet is not remote or digital by design. So what changes? The one thing that I'm going to be telling you again and again and again today, the one word which I will repeat, is intentionality, right? You need to be so much more intentional about building relationships in a fully remote organization. Skill set is always going to be one of your primary drivers for trust. If you're seen as somebody who's good at your job, then trust gets built. And in a remote organization, you also need to extend that skill set into gaining mastery over asynchronous tools. If you are in a fully remote organization, and also at the size of, which spans multiple time zones, then trust takes a while to establish, and therefore it is extremely important that we build a deep culture of assuming positive intent. You also need to work more, more intentionally, there it goes again, towards building your active voice. Unlike in real life, where you see body language, you see demeanor, and you kind of make an impression about people, this is something that you need to work more deliberately at. Okay, so how do you navigate this time of great opportunity? You're excited, your team is excited. How do you make sure that you build the trust and establish a great relationship? I call this the 90-day plan. It's hardly prescriptive to 90 days, make it your own. But basically, it works from the outwards to the inwards, right? Start from the org, go to your team, and then, most importantly, yourself. Your first 30 days, your success depends on how much time you spend designing your new way of working. So when you start at a new organization in real life, what do? You study the building, right? I always find the coffee machine and the canteen. And in a remote org, it's like far too easy to just jump in, meet your team, and then your brain sort of begins to believe that that's all there is to the org. You don't see the entirety, right? I would suggest that you take a step back, zoom out, and study the building just as you would do, right? Get to know people and get to know the wider org and the tone of your organization. Set up the right tools. Reams of literature have been written about setting up your workplace in a remote setting, right? But like I said, this is your active voice, so work on setting up the right tools so that you're seen and heard in the right setting. Go wide and go deep. In real life, you will often meet direct but also indirect stakeholders, and you will build relationships with them outside of the corridors. And here you need to be more intentional about seeking these people out. And it's far too easy to be transactional. It's far too easy to just message your HRBP or finance or the support functions. And work will still get done, but I would suggest that you take time to build relationship with them. Some of the processes that is being actually worked on very extensively by Shopify to make the digital by design work are these. Cross-org pairing sessions, great way to build deep technical context into a particular area. And I promise you, once you've paired with a developer for an hour, like you can call them at any time and sort of ask them to pair with you on a problem, and it just sort of builds that kind of relationship. We have a great concept called peer group or study group sessions, which is bringing together people of the same craft who are not in the same reporting line. And this just builds a great community of people who you can work with, who you can learn the craft from, but also discuss difficult challenges. Documentation videos, this is also like, documentation is the lifeblood of any remote-first organization. But, as we all know, documentation also always needs work. So this is a great way for you to get some quick win and sort of help in making the organization better. Your first 60 days. So now you've made some friends, you have learned a little bit about the organization, you know a few people that you can call. How do you work on the team? Your first 60 days depends upon your ability to build engagement with your team. Use async for productivity and synchronous for engagement. I'll repeat that. Use async for productivity and synchronous for engagement. Make sure that you design a mix of deep focus and deep work, deep connect time zones, right? And when you are intentional about designing your synchronous processes in a way that they are planned and that you don't take the synchronous touch points for granted, trust is built within your team members because they know that you put thought behind your ask. Okay, so you become a super efficient team, but I still think that the real magic happens when you're able to effectively combine the synchronous with the asynchronous. I joined Shopify in October, and I met my immediate team in December, and it was magical how the trust and the synchronization was built, right? So make sure that you use IRL techniques where you can actually meet together, build trust, and strategize together. When you are not together in real life, still try to build a cadence of synchronous rituals like gaming sessions, lunch and learn, and really like build in a mix of fun and insightful retros in order to build the psychological safety within the team, right? So make sure that you design the right mix of synchronous and asynchronous touch points. Your first 90 days, it's about you, right? For me, when I joined with the size of Shopify and everybody working around the clock, it was super difficult to switch off, because Slack messages are always going on, and, I was so scared that if I would blink, I would miss, right? So I was always on, literally. But you need to understand that this, you just need to be able to take care of yourself. Find a kindred spirit whom you can call at any time of the day and have a chat about what's going on. And one thing is that if the company has decided to go remote first, they have built some thought into the process, right? So learn to trust the process. Try out different things with your team. Don't be afraid to try things out, but collect feedback. For example, I used to have 1.5, 2-hour retros. And at some point, the guys in my team told me, maybe too much of love is happening. I said, okay, let me scale back a bit, right? So collect feedback, iterate, make mistakes, iterate, and be patient and enjoy the process. I want to leave you with a recap. Remote is not doing the same thing on Google Meet, and you need to be able to design different parts of your life, your work, your tools, your processes, and your synchronous processes as well. Async for productivity and sync for connection. When done right, remoting can be a very rich and rewarding experience. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. I want to leave you with this beautiful, stunning picture. This was taken at the time when we met remotely in Jasper, Canada. And just goes to show you that remote work can actually open up beautiful vistas. You just need to have the right frame of mind to enjoy it. If you're interested in knowing more, please visit us at the Shopify booth. We also have a Mixer event happening tomorrow, so you can collect all information there. That's been my time. Thank you very much.